everyone. This is Myron Radio, and welcome back to Coaching Conversations. Today, we want to continue a conversation we started in our last video about the IT dilemma. I want you to think about this for a second. The demand for IT resources, physical, financial, human resources, are greater today than they have been at any other time in our history. And that trend is not going to stop. The ball is going to keep rolling down the hill, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as it rolls. So we need to find some way as leaders to think about this in a very cognitive and in a very deliberate fashion as to what kind of projects and what kind of applications are we going to put forward for our whole organization. Whole organization, not just your portfolio. So in the last video, we talked about the 4 ways of being able to deliver anything that you need. And it applies to IT, but it applies across a whole spectrum of needs. But let's apply this to IT. The very first thing you could do is if you have an application that you need, you could build it yourself. The second thing you could do is if you can't build it yourself because resources are constrained, you may be able to go out and buy something off the shelf, bring it into your organization, use it here and now. Even if it only gives you the 80% solution, work on the 20 that it doesn't give you, and away you go. The third thing is lease. And by lease we mean basically this is outsourcing. So going to another company who provides what it is you're looking for and having them come in. So engage them to develop the system that you need. And the huge caution here, as we said on the last video, is you still need to own the system. So you have to give them the business specifications, you have to road test it, you have to acceptance test it, you need to do the change management around it. Please don't forget those. If you missed any of that, please go back to the last video. And the last thing you could do for the sake of the business is you might defer your project because it may not serve the whole. So in this video, we want to talk about how do you evaluate projects? What are some criteria that you could use? And how do you probe these? Don't just take an answer that somebody gives you, but really probe them and make sure you understand them. So let's talk about what those look like. The very first thing you should be looking at is the pain points. So the application, the project that you're trying to get put through, the technology project, how much pain will it relieve? How much pain will you experience if you don't put this project in? Let me give you an example. The government may change some of the reporting requirements, the regulations by which you have to do business. Well, if it involves a technological solution and you don't put that solution in, you're going to be living in a world of hurt. So if you, in this category, the pain category, on a scale of 1 to 10, that may be a 9 or a 10 for you. That tells you, this is something we're going to have to really look very long and hard at before we get rid of it. However, by the same token, if you have someone in your organization who sees a way of making things incrementally better that's going to save people about a half hour a day, well, that might rate a 2 on the scale of 1 to 10 as far as a pain point. That might be something that might be a candidate for deferral. Or let's find another way. Maybe we could buy an off-the-shelf program that helps us get there. So I think you get the point here. But pain, where's the pain point and how great is that pain point that this IT solution is going to address? The next point is, how important is it to your business to get this thing done? Does your business come off the rails if this isn't done? Or is it something that might make your business flow more smoothly across those rails? What is it for you? But rate the level of importance. Is it, again, we're on a scale of 1 to 10. Great way to do it. But then test it. You can't just say 10 to everything because that's not real. So you have to be real here as a leader because remember, you're working outside of your small footprint of your portfolio and working on the enterprise. That's what's required of leaders here. So how important is it to the business? The next point is, what impact will this have on the business? Let me give you an example. Several of my clients right now are putting in enterprise-wide systems that are going to take years to develop. But they believe that it's needed to either keep pace with competition or to leapfrog competition. And in some cases, they're saying, we get this system in, we will literally move to the head of the pack. It's that crucial, that kind of impact it'll have on us. So you can see what it does right now just for the first three criteria with impact, importance, and pain. But we're not done yet because there are two others we want to explore. Next is, how much time is it going to take to implement this particular solution? So if you come up with this grand plan to put a system in and it's going to take 5 years for the thing to be fully operationalized, in 5 years there could be an off-the-shelf program that gives you what you already need, and so you will have wasted all of that time and effort and energy, and you might have deferred some other projects where you could have gotten some other benefits. So what's the time? I'm not saying don't do it if it's a 5-year project. You never know what you're going to be going up against. You don't know the level of impact, the level of importance. So make sure that you consider all 4 of these. And then last is the resources that are going to be required to implement this project. Do you have them? Physical, financial, and human resources. And not only do you have them on the business side, but does the IT organization have it on their side as well? So I want you to think about this. There are a limited amount of dollars that can be spent, unless of course you have an open checkbook, which I don't know many organizations that have that. They're very disciplined about the budget process and how to be able to move forward, and being very rational about where they're going to place their big bets. Is this going to be a big bet for you? Here's the ask that I have. I'd like you right now to think about any projects that you have on the docket that you have asked IT to develop. And if you're in IT, I'd ask you to look at anything that's on your docket and put it through the test of these 5 criteria. Reach out to the business people and find out from them. Now, here's the last caution for you. This is not a we versus them competitive kind of environment internally. Everyone has to act for the sake of the enterprise. Everyone. That's why you're leaders today. So hopefully this will give you some things to think about. For right now, this is Myron Radio. Over and out.